Hey everybody, Wakia back at you. I noticed we got a lot of new, well, I got a lot of new subscriptions, but anytime I get new subscriptions, I want to talk about something that people might not know about the Campfire Council. And it's a group of people that have band together under a sacred organization, but we cover a lot of areas, if you get my drift. And the links are down below. In the show notes, it says Campfire Council. We have a Google site that you can join. Yes, we're using the enemy's own tools against them. We'd love to have you, those people that just subscribed. And if you like what I'm talking about, then you'll like our community. Because we're truth tellers and earth people and tribal people. I thought I'd follow up this video because I was talking about the war or the West collapsing. People might wonder, people that are just joining up here or maybe getting some more info that they haven't got before. I talk in a real easy manner and truthful manner, and I just try to spell out, how I'm seeing it. No BS, no spin, none of that stuff, just straight out truth, okay? No agendas here. The only agenda I have is to connect with my fellow man and heart-to-heart conversations. Campfire Council, like sitting around a campfire in the Old West, or at the beach or anywhere. You know how you sit around with your friends and talk straight? So I wanted to welcome everybody, and I wanted to give the rundown on what the West is up to. In the West, I mean the United States, Canada, their allies, the EU. In case anybody doesn't know, because a lot of people don't know, I thought I'd kind of run down a little historical sum up of the facts of how America, which I call Turtle Island, it isn't America, it's Turtle Island, okay? And the government here that came in, the goon squad with the Mayflower boys and girls that took over and created all this manifest destiny and all this wonderful stuff, you see, wall-to-wall concrete and cities and freeways and no more nature. Everything's square. Even the bushes they trim so they're square, like their mentality. Indigenous people always like circles, the medicine wheel, the teepee, those kind of things. The campfire, circular stuff, not square stuff. It's bad feng shui. Feng shui is a arrangement from a Taoist point of view of how you arrange things in your house if it's beneficial to you, the chi flow and all that stuff. But anyway, I was talking about the history of the West here, and let's just go back because I don't know how many people, what ages the people are here, but let's just go back to, let's say, ever since 9/11, and the big push by America to encroach upon all kinds of sovereign nations. Okay, just like they encroached upon the red man. They took over his nation and they usurped his authority or belief system or leaders and replaced it with their Christian religion and dogmatic point of views in patriarchal society, tribal societies being matriarchal. The feminine influence. They want to spread their hegemony or get their fingers in all the pies that they can, and they have been since that day in 9/11, which they instituted during everybody's complete shock, which they planned. They planned the shock. Naomi Wolf writes about it, great book called The Shock Doctrine, if you want to ever read that. After that, it was, no holds barred. They went after every small nation that was considered terrorist, or that's the big word that they put on everybody. It just about covers everything for them. That's why they thought it out. Just like savages back in the days of the Old West. Savages kind of covered everything, didn't it? So they went after Syria, and they went after, first they went after Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan and all these different countries, Yemen, and, got their fingers and puppets in all these different places. And they took out anybody that didn't want to stay on the dollar, wanted to go on a gold standard, or wanted to go have their own currency, okay? Or be more self-reliant. They don't want people that are self-reliant. They want people that are dependent on the petrodollar, which came into effect when Nixon took us off the gold standard and put us on the petro, because he was real good friends with the Saudis. We know how honest he was, don't we? So ever since then, it's been a war of black gold. Black gold. Just like in the old days, in the gold rush, they came in and took over Pahasapa, the Black Hills of Dakota, the sacred hills of the Lakota people, and overran that like rats, and overran California for their pursuit of gold. And now it's black gold. There's not a real big difference here. And it's the same modus operandi. Basically kill anybody that gets in the way. Take them out. Just take them out. Or put them in a prison or on a reservation or wherever. They might build camps. Who knows, But everybody that doesn't agree with America now has been labeled a terrorist, and anybody that doesn't go on the gold standard, on the oil standard, wish we were on the gold standard. There is no more gold in America, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. Chinese have it all, and Russians have it all. They bought it all up, and Russia has a good deal of oil, like a third of the world's oil. I don't know. Couldn't get along without their oil, let's put it that way. And that brings me to the other reason that the West is trying to take over all these different Mideastern countries, is because it's about oil and pipelines. And it's about fracking, and it's about industry. Okay? And so they kind of killed two birds with one stone, because they support their military-industrial complex also. And the way they do this is by selling weapons to different countries. They'll turn one country against the other just to sell them weapons. Or they'll put a bunch of mercenaries in from our country and kind of invade another country. See, it used to be where wars were like, you had to declare war. Remember the good old days? No, you don't. World War I and II, they have to declare war. Congress has to declare war. Now they just go in anywhere without any kind of declaration of war. So, what does that tell you? Now, ever since this 9/11 and ever since the Fukushima, I marked that as a turning point, the Fukushima blow up of the 3-core meltdown in March of 2011, I think it was, and the earth wobbled. I think it really kind of went into another dimension there, because that's when everything seemed to be going insane, that 9/11. The 9/11 thing, getting back to that just for a second so I can follow up on it, Naomi Wolf wrote a book called Shock Doctrine, and it's about how they'll put you in shock, they'll put people in shock by a big event like that, and then pass a bunch of laws like the Patriot Act and the Department of Homeland Security and all this. The fatherland, homeland, fatherland, kind of like Nazis, you know. So basically what we have here is this kind of a short history of outlaw mentality from 9/11. Of course, it's been since day one, just like I said with the red man. But it's kind of intensified since 9/11, in my opinion. And everybody's opinion that is awake, okay, and can see things. And so what happens is, my light goes out sometimes. What happens is they got this pursuit of gold and resources and the military-industrial complex. Then, of course, anybody that doesn't go along with their way or is outside the realms of society will end up into the prison-industrial complex. Isn't it wonderful that the two main industries in our country now, and I say our country because I live here, but again, I'm native and I don't really care about what you can call it America or hair raiser or outlaw city or bank, you know, you can call it anything you want, it's Turtle Island. But as a wisdom keeper, I have to speak and try to inform, I feel. And so I run it down to people, give them the rundown from a wisdom, natural, tribal point of view. Try to, anyway. Okay, so basically, you know, what it is what I said. It's trying to take over a bunch of countries. Excuse me. Try to take over a bunch of countries, get their gold, get the pipelines rolling, get the fracking, get the whatever. Just like the gold rush, the 49ers, and they went crazy back then too, killed everybody, killed indigenous people, killed Chinese that came to work on the railroad, killed a red man, wouldn't let them mine. They couldn't stake a claim, they couldn't. So anyway, it was always the same way. And so, okay, it's about resources, 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 and land and power. Okay. And why, might you ask? Well, why don't you ask them? Because that'd be a good question that could be answered for all of us. Is why do you need so much power? Why do you need so much money? Why do you need so much resources? What, to deplete them all? To say, you know, you're the big man at the poker table that just won the big pot? Or what's the deal? What's, you know, that's what everybody's trying to figure out, is what's the big deal? Why can't we work together, share resources, no more borders? Let's all hold hands, you know, like brothers and sisters, like we're supposed to be. We're all tribal, everybody on the earth. So what's the deal? And everybody, of course, is sleepwalking through this whole thing because they're tuned into the mass media and to the propaganda, and the propaganda has got so bad now that that's basically why people are so confused and don't know the truth, is because you hear so many different stories and you're overwhelmed with so many different stories, and half of them are just a bunch of crap. to distract you. Now, while we're on this subject, see, I'm going to cover the whole gamut here for the new people, and just to recap it for everybody. They institute, as they're going into these countries, they institute what I call, we did it, but we're going to blame the other guy. Okay. We did it, the U.S. did it, but we're going to blame the other guy, or we're going to make it look like the other guy. Now, most people can accept, hey, that's possible. So you can blame somebody else for something you do and make it look like the other guy. But if you use the term false flag, which is exactly what that means, that you do something and blame the other guy, or you do something that's really not real, you just do something to upset people and get them into that shock doctrine. So, all along, both domestically and internationally, the CIA uses all kinds of different techniques. Trust me, I know. And I have intel. They use all kinds of techniques that I've talked about before, like mind control, mass propaganda. They even passed a bill that makes it okay for them to perpetuate mass propaganda on the population. Okay? That was my phone. It's going to do it again. Mass propaganda on the population. NLP, all kinds of things. False flags. Now, when we have a situation like we have right now, where there's possibly some cooperation, let's say, with France and Russia, which they hate Russia, or Germany with Russia, the first thing they'll do is create some kind of incident in that country who's ever cooperating with who they don't want them to cooperate with. You get my picture here? Or they'll kill somebody, or they'll take them right out of office, or they'll cause a false flag, a shooting, a terrorist attack. In the Old West, they would have called it a savage. The savages are attacking. It's just like a Western, people. It's real simple. It's a no-brainer. When you're awake, you can see this stuff. When you come from an era, got a few years on me, where you go through changes and you see what's going on, you see where something happened just like that. Something happened along the way where it just changed overnight almost. The whole world view concerning America, all that American dream stuff and living in, the Midwest and everybody relaxed and all this stuff, man, it boomed, changed overnight, and it came with technology is what I believe, and technology used in the wrong way. See, I told you it would go off again. They always notify me twice, okay? Technology. See, isn't that, I'm talking about technology and my phone's going ding, ding. That's what we're locked into here, okay? And they've locked us into it. You can't even find a real phone anymore. You gotta go with this, because you can't find a real phone. You can't even find a pay phone out on the street anymore, okay? They got us locked in, baby. It's the Matrix, okay? I got news for you. We're already all locked in. And when this shit goes down, what are you going to do, people? Send smoke signals? You ain't going to be able to find a phone. Maybe ham operators will be active again. I used to do that. So see, basically it's a big mess. Okay, and that's why we need to band together. And more people are realizing this, and that's why the Campfire Council, people are coming in. I just started it on Google, and people, because we can practice, we can talk freely under the auspices of a sacred organization. They might call it a church. They can call it whatever they want. But under those auspices, we can talk more freely, just like we're talking to the members, if you get my drift here. The last thing they will attack is the sacred stuff, the religions, and the, as far as organized things, okay? Organizations that they tend to let slide a little, okay, on the speech thing. But they'll go after the alternative media, and they're going to go after a lot of things. So you got to get ready. And our motto is band together, okay? Band together. So if you're interested, just check us out. Read the prospectus on both the regular website, campfirecouncil.com, campfire-council.com, and the Campfire Council Google site, okay? Which is, people are starting to come in, and people post stuff about ancient civilizations and sacred stuff and current events, and we all try to talk to each other as people, not as a family. I don't care if we get 100 people, people will be talking to each other on there. Okay, back and forth, and we're starting to get a group that's cohesive. And we might even get some land somewhere. Don't know. Anything could happen. But if you want to stay connected with your fellow man and learn about the stuff that I talk about, and other people on the site will post things, and we pretty much got a little intel base going here. Each of us has their own intel base, and then, you know, as a collective, we have an intel base. And we're fully into you know, self-protection by any means. Okay? Just thought I'd mention that, because if you're got a problem with that, might as well know it now. We will defend ourselves, and we will protect our own. Okay? That's just a given. I'm a long-time martial artist and done a lot of other things in my life too, okay? I don't want to talk about them because people think he couldn't have done that many things in his life. I have. So, I hope I kind of brought you up to date on the world situation. We're watching it closely now. Watching it real close. There's two main things happening right now. Financial wars leading to real wars. Okay? And it's heating up. Worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis ever thought of being. And we were like bending over, kissing our butts goodbye back then. So you can imagine what it's like now. You have no idea of the military might and the technology of superpowers. But some superpowers kind of got ahead of the game here. Kind of took a little leap forward. Okay? And I think some of these nut brains in Washington don't kind of realize that. Either they do or they're damn scared and want to. It's like the outlaw that gets backed into a corner, you know? You got to deal with those kind of people on every level, and you got to inform people. And you can't back down. You have to be a warrior of sorts, spiritual or otherwise. So anyway, people call me Thunder, and my name's Wakia in Lakota. But my pen name that I've written my books by is Roger Thunderhands Gilbert, or Thunder. And this is the Campfire Council. I'm speaking for them. So if you're interested, let us know, or just join up. You go there, and I approve or don't approve when somebody hits the I want to join button. If you're in one of my circles, I think you can get in automatically. Okay, I'll leave it there today. Thought I'd just pop back on here because I noticed some people coming in, and love having you. And some people have given me some real good comments about how I talk straight from the heart. And I think you can tell I do that, and I don't have an agenda. My agenda is self-protection, okay, and helping my fellow man and coming from the heart space, and not being hypocritical, and trying to come from a more sacred spiritual level, not religious, okay, sacred and spiritual, that place of understanding. So on that note, I will say to all of you out there, from the one eye of the heart, Chante Ishte is Lakota, means one eye of the heart. This is Thunder. Adios.